For some of you guys that follow my videos, you might get a little bit excited to see what I have going on there today. A few subscribers have been asking about this Blue Admiral TV set that I brought home. And again, this is a chassis model 16B3B, and I'll have to find the model of the TV set again. It's a P93B16, and its chassis run 10 and serial number 9581168. Very compact little set. I mean, there's probably a lot worse out there. For me, being a newbie to the TVs, I've never messed with one before. This makes me a little nervous to put my hands in this thing, but I know where to keep it out of, like the high voltage and all that, just in case it would pack a wall up after sitting for all these years, but I don't want to take that chance. So anywho, this uses, it does actually have an Admiral CRT in there, and it's a 19PX4 picture tube. Looks like we got a date code of 031322, and this thing uses a 12GE6, which is this big guy right here. In front of that is a 12AX4, which is that one back in the back. This guy right here is a, find out where he's stamped at here. At least they got the tube number stamped on the chassis. It makes it a little easier. It's a 10DE7. That guy's a 10DE7. We get down here, this one with the tape on top right there is a 3DK6. This guy here is a 3BZ6. Here we have a 6AW8A. That's that guy right there. Right here we have a, some of them are kind of hard to see, 4GZ5. I never even heard of one of them. This one here is a 3DT6. This one here's a 3BU8. This guy here is a 6CG7. And over here in our tuner, this one right here with the tube shield around him is a 5FG7, and this guy here is a 2FS5. So all in all, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 tubes in this set. Now, before I power it up, I wanted to open it up and take a look, see if there's any signs of anything burnt or damaged, or see if there was anything wrong with this set that made it be set by the wayside. And I don't really see, you know, I'm kind of going off of the old radios and stuff. I don't really see anything that throws up an immediate red flag. I mean, none of the capacitors are bulging or anything like that, but most of these are in ceramic cases. This guy here and this guy here, those are a 0.1 microfarad of 1000 working volts DC. I don't know what he is. He's facing me backwards. Here's our electrolytics up here. We have a 50, 10, and 5. Yeah, we have a 50, a 10, a 5, and a 100 at 50 volts. That's a 4-part capacitor right there. I don't know what this guy is. He's turned around back to me. This one here is a 100, 100. That's it. 100 and 100, both at 350 working volts. We have a few more of those ceramic paper capacitors. Here's an Admiral code HF2. Little scrawny speaker. So, I've been told to safely power this up with my Variac, so I brought it in here. And then run it through my dim bulb tester. And then run it into the set, which I had to remove the dummy cord from the cabinet. And then reattach it to the set. Now this does have a circuit breaker in line too, and much to my surprise it's not tripped. It doesn't click when I push it back in, and it doesn't feel funky like it's damaged or got corrosion in it or anything. So right now I have a 60 watt bulb in the old dim bulb tester. So let's see what happens. Alright, power is on. The power switch on the set's on. My dim bulb tester is on with a 60 watt bulb in line here. Let's flip our variac on, and immediately it goes bright and dims right back down. So that's a good sign. It didn't stay lit. Let's go ahead and bring it up slowly. I think when I flip my variac on, it's sitting on 50 volts. December 21st and our weather radio is going off. That's very annoying.
The National Weather Service in Wilmington has issued a flood warning for the Great Miami River from this evening to late Monday night. At 8 a.m., the stage was 10.3 feet. Minor flooding is forecast. Flood stage is 14 feet. The river will rise above flood stage this evening and continue to rise to near 15.9 feet by early Sunday afternoon. The river will fall below flood stage by Monday evening. That stage is near 16.2 feet. This stage is similar to the January 1959 flood and the July 2nd, 003 flood. The river covers portions of County Road 25A near Troy. The city of Troy itself is protected to a stage of 22 feet by levees.
Now looking at the weather patterns affecting the lower Great Lakes and Ohio Valley region. A frontal system which will...
So we've got some pretty severe flooding going on here today in Ohio. And our pond was down about 4 foot yesterday morning, and it's been raining since about midnight Thursday night, and here it is about 10 o'clock Saturday morning. Apologize for the rain on the window. But we're clear over here in our field, and here's our pond. Usually it runs from about the tree line, you know, right here, all the way over to just about right here. But we're clear off over into the field this morning, and it's still raining right now. Of course, you see the water clear over there. And we're expected to get at least another inch to 2 inches tonight. The heaviest rain's not even here yet, according to what they're saying on the TV. So this could be very interesting. There's another warning coming in over the phone. Alright, let's go ahead and watch the bulb as we go up. I don't know if it'll get any brighter or not. We're at 50 volts. 50 volts. There's 60. 70. 80 volts. 90 volts, 100. They're just barely a glow out of the thing. I'm going to check this circuit breaker one more time to make sure it doesn't have to be reset while the set's on. We're full blast volume, got no hum or nothing. I'm going to watch my amp meter here for a minute and see if we're actually drawing anything. Very, very little amperature draw. So, I'm not exactly sure what we got going on here. I went ahead and installed a 100 watt bulb, and we still have no signs of life out of this thing, sitting at about 110 volts. No signs of life out of this set whatsoever. This thing draws 195 watts, so we're well below the threshold of what we need. But I'm going to try something. A 100 watt bulb is the biggest light bulb that I have in my possession, and I'm wondering if I split it between two, if I'll still get the same effect of having, say, a 140 or 160 watt bulb in between both of these. So let's give that a shot and see what happens. Well, I showed you water down in the front yard for our pond rising due to all the rain. And here's another issue I have down here in the shop. A long time ago in the back porch, which is on the other side of this wall, I'm down in the basement of course, there was a cistern. And it takes a lot of rain to get that cistern to come back in here. Probably at one time it had a pipe that come through the wall back over in here, right there where that patch is at, above that soap bottle. That probably fed the house for supply water for the toilets and stuff like that, and general washing and baths and things like that. That hole's been plugged, and it takes a lot of rainwater or groundwater to seep into that old cistern to get it to pass here in the basement. So luckily, behind that sink, there's a floor drain right there, and it's doing its best to keep up with the mess. But we're starting to take on some water down here. And you can kind of see behind the sink there where that yellow bulge is behind that soap bottle. I don't know if you can see the water dripping there or not. It's pretty constant. And then over here on this side of the house, which is our mechanical side, thank goodness everything's out of the way of this. But you can see back over in there water on the floor too, underneath of them shelves and stuff. So I've had to move some stuff around down here today. It's just one of those things. Gotta love wet weather. And I'm on top of a hill. I'm in a low spot. You know, the groundwater started to rise down here, and it's just getting crazy wet. The ground can't take no more. So hopefully I can keep the shop afloat. I got way too much stuff down here to lose. Luckily, for my sake, you know, everything's up on tables, and you know, I got nothing besides them shelves, and it takes some time for it to rise. My cabinets are all up, and the toolboxes too. So it very rarely comes back this way to get any of the carpets. And then of course, you know, the bench and all that's over there. It's got nothing to worry about. But over here, we're going to keep an eye on this today. Now I don't know if that's good practice or not, but I got a 100 and a 60 watt bulb both connected to my tester. We're sitting at 115 volts on the variac and basically drawing no amperage, and we still do not have any tubes lighting or any signs of life. No crackling out of the volume control or anything. Strange. Well, here's where we're at with this thing. I went ahead and took the dim bulb tester out of the line, and we're running directly 95 volts off the variac to the set right now, and still have no tube action or nothing. There's no glowing out of the tubes, there's no crackling out of the speaker, nothing. This thing is just completely dead. I thought maybe 100 and some volts would be, or 160 watts out of that might be enough to make this thing come back, but so far no dice. So we're setting at 105 volts AC. There's about 115. I've got a fuse on the variac. It hasn't kicked that, and that circuit breaker's still fine. So I wonder what could be wrong with this thing. Well, let's shut her down and check a few things. Like I said, I don't know anything about these sets. I wonder if these capacitors are starting to get warm. Well, he's just a little warm to the touch. It ain't hot. That one's cardboard, really can't tell nothing. That one's ice cold. Well guys, that's where we're at on this. If you all have any ideas about what it might take to get this thing up and running, I don't have a new enough tube tester to go through and check the tubes, but if I had an open filament, wouldn't my dim bulb tester not even light at all? Instead of, you know, obviously if it's got a shorter somewhere on the power coming in, this is going to glow bright like if you had it screwed in a regular socket. I understand how that works. But it's not glowing at all, even plugging it directly into the variable power supply. You got nothing, no crackling of sound on the speaker or anything. Okay, so here's what we have with the Admiral 19-inch black and white set. I got to fiddling around with it a little bit later on, and took all the tubes out of their sockets and cleaned them, put them back in, so at least now we can tell if the picture tube works. It lights up, but it really doesn't do much more besides that. And I've had it running, so I can put this back up to 115 volts. Let me show you what this picture tube does when we turn it on for the first time. And that's basically about it. Now there's a real bad hum when you touch the power knob. The contrast is there hardly at all. And when you turn the tuner, there's no reaction whatsoever. See, this is my digital box. I put a signal to it, channel 3. There's nothing there. When we mess around with our vertical hold, our horizontal hold does hardly anything, and the contrast is also non-responsive. So this is brightness up here, nothing. So that's where we're at with that. I don't know if we're missing some B+ voltage. We got a bad tube. There's one tube in this tuner over here that is just really, really dark. It don't look good at all, but that don't mean it's bad. So that's it.